Hello students, I hope everybody is doing well. Today we're just going to do some review with our cutting skills, and I have a white piece of paper for a background, and so this is a collage, so you would need scissors and glue. If you do not have scissors, you could also tear paper. That's really good for fine motor skills. So what I did so far is I had some construction paper and I cut them into square shapes. Some of them are a little bit more rectangle, but that's okay. And we're just doing some practice cutting circles. It's good practice. And so with the largest square, if you want to start with a larger square, it helps make a bigger circle. So when you are cutting a square or a rectangle and making it more into a circle, you just need to cut your corners. So I'm using a pair of scissors just to cut the corners first, so that I keep a really good size circle. Does not have to be a perfect circle. This is for practice. And after I have my big circle, I want to get smaller, and on top of the big red circle, I need to add the medium-sized circle. So I'm going to cut my corners off. It's okay if they're not perfect, then you can lay it on top of that one. So I have a big circle, a medium-sized circle, and then I have a smaller rectangle or square to cut the corners off. If you can't make the perfect square, it's fine. Just, get a smaller piece of paper so that you can take your one hand and turn the paper so that you can keep your scissors facing out, and that it's safer that way. So your point's facing out, and then this circle goes in the middle. So we can do a design like this. So you're going from big, medium to smaller circles. You can do it in a different way if you would like. I'm going to use a glue stick to glue these pieces together first, and then decide where I want to glue them on the background. Now, if you have different type of papers, you don't have to just use construction paper. If you have around the house, I have a couple pieces of scrapbooking paper, you could use that to cut as well. So if you have it available at your house, if you do not have scrapbooking paper, you might be able to use junk mail. You could use an old magazine if your family is finished using the magazine. This is practice, so I want you to just use what you have available. There's no need to go out to a store to buy anything, because this is just practice. We're just practicing cutting and gluing. If you do not have glue or a glue stick, you can just lay your cut pieces down on the background paper, and then that way I can see how well you're doing with cutting your circles. So right here I have a page out of a magazine. I could use that as cutting as well. So I could come into the paper and try to cut out a circle. You could do it like this, or you can cut out a square first and then cut the circle. It's probably easier doing it that way. I could use that. Could make an interesting design with, just scrap paper. You could also use an old page from a calendar as well. Here is a piece of a large envelope that I could use in my collage. If you do not have scissors, we talked about being able to use scrap paper and tear paper. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to quickly cut this out. You could even cut ovals if you want to practice cutting ovals. So that might want to fit it like that on there, or maybe start another area with circles. With construction paper, you can tear in one direction where it will tear a lot easier. So if you just pull down with your hand, what you could do is do a torn strip paper design if you want. So if you don't have scissors, you can just take your hand. Here's a piece of scrap and try to practice tearing strips. And then I could glue it and make a design with it, maybe with a bunch of stripes or strips. So this is just practice using our fine motor skills. So use whatever paper you have available, and let's see what you can come up with.